right. Let's see here. Open up the gates here. Hey, Steven, how are you?
Hello there.
All right. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good today.
That's good. That's good.
Beautiful
You look
Wednesday.
like you look like you're in a very comfortable spot. So,
Well, I am in a very comfortable spot, even though it's not the one in the picture.
I'm gonna pretend like it's the one in the picture. We're gonna just say product coffee happens on the beach.
Out on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. When are we doing that?
Steve's in it right now, and
Yeah.
we're on our way in about 15 minutes. Looks Tahiti, is that where we are?
I would have said Bali, but Tahiti's close enough for me.
Bali works for
Like
me.
Bali.
Tahiti's a magical place.
How are things in Atlanta today?
I think
Beautiful.
it's cooling down a little bit, tiny little bits. Been very hot.
Since it's a small group here right now, I'd like to ask you guys all a question.
Yeah.
I recently started working with the Never Search Alone process, and I'm getting into doing my listening tour. Can I impose upon anybody here to help me out and give me some opinions and perceptions on that?
Of course.
Absolutely, anytime.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You bet. I will, if you don't still have it, Stephen, I will drop my Calendly link in there and you can just find some time that works for you.
Excellent.
I don't use Calendly because I'm not a super, but just ping me anywhere, anytime.
Okay, I'll do that.
I cannot get my audio. This is tragic.
Hey, Matt, Elisa. Hello. Holly.
Hey, good
Been
morning,
away
everybody.
for a few weeks. Hey, good to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. It's been a little while since we've seen you as well.
Yeah, I've been busy. It's hard to get in here. Happy to join today, though. Looking forward
Hey,
to it.
tell me about it. Like you organize it, but it might still be hard to attend.
Mason jars.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta drink coffee out of a mason jar
man.
every day. That's how I roll.
That's different.
Not my
Drinking
usual
water like a
setting, so
sucker.
I'm just trying not to burn myself right now.
Oh, goodness. I'm on the road this week. I'm in Arkansas visiting my family, but I still have I have the product coffee mug. So
Nice.
and I actually had to go to a hotel because the network has been really unstable at my parents' house. They live in a really rural part of the state, and I had to go to a hotel to do this today. But damn it, I brought my mug.
I feel like that's a personal comment there, Jason. Yes, I could have brought the product coffee mug, but it wasn't in my first load. Okay.
Oh no, absolutely not. That is more of a
Steve,
personal
your mug
comment
is
on
blending
me.
in with the beach. I don't know how you're
Yeah, I'm
drinking
trying to
air,
figure
but
out
it's
why
amazing.
it does that.
There we go. Like you're drinking clouds. This is awesome. Cloud coffee. That should be a thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello. Good morning
And I
still.
thought that looked like a hotel, Jason, but I also thought I was going to have to do that with a mad scramble. Dark bags.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
up late last night trying to get the Wi-Fi on here. So
Oh no. I'm glad you did. So,
How's the
as a
weather
matter
in
of
rural Arkansas, Jason?
hotter than Hotlanta.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'm flying out tomorrow, and the projected heat index at the time my flight's supposed to leave tomorrow is 114.
I.
It's actually kind of pleasant here. So come home. It's somewhat pleasant right now.
Yeah, it was a holiday. There was like clouds. There wasn't a lot of sun.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can stand outside more than 3 minutes. Yeah.
I was inspired to tell myself I was going to go for a run this morning, and then I decided that was a terrible idea. I didn't do it, but I'm resenting it because it was the perfect day for it. You know, it's one of those, and you're like, damn it.
Oh.
You get some points for that.
For thinking about it, I mean, I was dressed and ready to go, and then warming up and went, everything hurts. Also, I have a lot of new bruises, and they seem like they're fresh. So I should probably not do that.
Oh no. All right. Well, we got a few people here. So hey Sharon. Let's see here. And Riley's joining in. Doesn't have sound just yet, it looks like. But for those of you who haven't been here for a while or haven't been here before, want to welcome you and invite you to turn your camera on. It's not required, but if you turn your camera on, I'd love to get you to introduce yourself to everybody here. I see that, Kelsey. Gotcha. Fair enough. So glad you could be here. So, Kelsey, it's your first time here. Can't turn the camera on. That's okay, but we are looking forward to getting to know you, and hope to meet you soon. And if you want to, at some point, just kind of raise your virtual hand. Even if you can't turn on the camera, we'll let you introduce yourself to everybody. But in the meantime, I want to let's go ahead and kind of get started. What we do here for the first half hour or so of Product Coffee is it's just like any other meetup that you might go to. We're going to literally just kind of get to know each other, drink some coffee or tea or whatever your drink of choice is. We got some folks who join us from the other side of the planet from time to time. So if you're doing shots, I'm not going to judge you. I'm particularly fond of espresso martinis that I would recommend if it's late in the afternoon or evening for you. But in the meantime, let's kind of it could be vodka or bourbon, or well, that's clear, so it's going to be vodka, I guess. So, but let's kind of get started here. And what I would like to do, once again, if your camera is on, I will try to get to you and invite you to introduce yourself to everybody who doesn't know you yet, and reintroduce yourself to those who do, and tell us what has your attention these days. What's on your mind? So let's start with Sharon Sanford. Hey, Sharon, how you doing? Welcome back.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Awesome.
Doing great.
Awesome. I am still job hunting for a product executive or a product leadership role, but working on some lots of neat, interesting things. So what I recently interviewed for a CPO position, and one of the questions that I think I would like to throw out to you guys was, tell me about a time, one of these behavioral interview questions, right? Tell me about a time when you say increase revenue from $30 million to $60 million. The end. That's the question. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's been popping up a lot. How do you scale revenue? And I've had some very interesting answers from people in the community. So I throw that one out at you.
I will happily jump in on that one.
Yeah, go.
Because I've been getting the same question, Sharon, more framed less as a specific number, but as a tell me a time when you, or how would you go after new revenue, right? And sometimes with qualifiers. And something lucky for me, I guess, that I did get to do in my real life. So, and not totally just, making up these feasibilities. But I think for anyone, it's a fair thing to say that you would explore the possibilities of how do you find new revenue opportunities with your existing product set? For example, is the way that the product is offered something that you could change, right? Either by repackaging the product differently, going down market by doing so, or in my lucky case, it was taking an on-premise perpetual license software and converting it to both hosted and a SaaS decoupled, almost like web service API set of offerings. These were all different pieces, but together added up to a huge revenue stream, while we were actually saying, hey, let's take the existing product, chunk it up, or say, hey, instead of selling it to you, pay me a monthly number, and that number is way smaller, right? So you got to convince executives that number adds up, but it can be pretty compelling, right? If you convert it, one-time revenue to reoccurring revenue, that's a huge piece, right? And if you can take something that's an existing product, so it's a low investment, it to take something, right, to take this and cut it up, Please don't cut my fingers off. But then sell the individual pieces. If it lets you open up a new market, in my case, it was banking software, and someone like First Tennessee isn't going to buy, the behemoth $10 million banking software, right? But if they need this one capability that software has, and they need it really badly, they might pay, $100,000 for it, or, $10,000 a month for the rest of eternity, which is a lot of time. That's my thought. That's what I've been using.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think it's definitely when you're working with, that question is tricky because, it's a product growth question in a way, but it's also a product strategy. What are you doing in the market space? So, you can answer that in 100 different ways, I suppose. But yeah, just trying to get some feedback here on what others are thinking around that, how to tackle that one.
I got an interesting thought on that. I think, the funniest way to say it is like, well, sell more stuff, obviously, duh. And obviously, that's really where they're heading to. But what they're really trying to do is break down how you would think about any product, how you would solve the problem. It doesn't have to be subject specific. So I think the biggest mistake you could make is start treating it as a unique entity simply because of what it is. At the end of the day, the first thing you would say is like, how would you sell more oranges, right? You'd have to make more people aware that that you have oranges for sale. You'd do an assessment to figure out if your pricing is in conjunction with the competitors, if you're better or worse. Do you have a message of quality you could throw on that? So there's a bunch of ways around it. The key element will always be the same. In most cases, unless it's a completely loaded question, first of all, it's very biased, right? They're trying to do a bunch of stuff. But if we really kind of pull it all together, what they're really asking is just to see, like, how do you break down their product? They're not even interested in whether or not it's going to sell more stuff. They want to see you break it down.
Why are you always talking about bias, Tully? Just curious.
All right.
A theme with you.
Well, you know what it is? The more I started looking into it, the more it's just a constant theme. And they're always trying to figure out a way, during the interview, they all want to hear nice things about their company. Let's be clear, right? That's what they're there for. Why do you want to work for us? All this other stuff. But in this situation, all you really got to do is just really break it down. Whatever it is they're selling. They could be selling nuts and bolts. They could be selling balloons. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have to figure out how to get more of the product at a higher cost, potentially, or a lower cost, depending, into more customers' hands. And that's all they're really after. And a lot of the time I've seen people, get bogged down too much in the tacticals of like, well, SEO this and blah, 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 that. I'm like, but that's not really what they're looking for, because a CPO position is strategic. The tactics are not relevant in the conversation at all.
And for those that don't know, Tully is the co-founder and chief of marketing and operations for a company that deals with bias, known as Cog Bias, a proud sponsor of Product Coffee's recent AI forum. Thank you, Tully. And why he talks about bias all the time. He seems to be biased to talking about bias.
So yeah, those are some absolutely great starts. And then the other thing that we'll talk, Sharon, it's a great session to be joining, because one of the things we're going to talk about today, the main thing we're going to talk about today, is the notion of product-led growth, and a lot of companies that struggle with getting to a product-led growth strategy. And that is one of many tools in the toolbox for scaling sales, for scaling revenue, is to take the weight off of a bottlenecked sales organization and build it into the product itself. So there are lots of different lenses to look at that problem through. And I love the way Tully kind of laid that out from, from an exploratory perspective. And in an interview conversation, that one of the first things I'm going to want to explore is understanding, what do we know already about why our sales are where they are? What do we perceive the roadblocks to be, the hindrances to be? And then let's start talking about the strategies that we would use to overcome those known blocks and to discover additional ones. and I loved what Holly was talking about as well, is, you know, kind of digging into understanding, you know, what are the other, you've got an existing product portfolio suite. Is it being maximized? Are you using it for everything that it could be used for? Are you addressing all the possible markets and all the possible use cases? Or are there different ways to package and sell that will accelerate? So many tools, and love to dig in on that one some more. And I think that actually be a good one to come back to and do a full session on that interview question alone. I think that could be a really interesting session that we might do someday. So cool. And if anybody else wants to jump in and contribute to that question or something else, please feel free to do so. Thank you for bringing a good meaty one to start the day with, Sharon. Really appreciate that. And let's see, let's go over to, hey, we got one of our newest Product Coffee Premium members here today. Rakesh, welcome, my friend. Why don't you introduce yourself and say hello?
Hi, everyone.
About time.
Hi, guys. So, hey, Rakesh Patel. Live in the Atlanta area. Been around Product Coffee for about 10 years, in and around with the original meetups and stuff. But Sharon, kind of talking to your point, I think they're trying to keep vet out some of the research you may have done around the competitive space and where the competitors going in their market as well. So sometimes that's an opportunity to look at, like, hey, this is, you know, going down market, up market, as kind of Holly mentioned, is probably helpful as well. Yeah, that's kind of top of mind for me as well. How do I prepare for a lot of these interview questions? And you know, seeing, you know, great session last week with the generative AI, and really like the balance between the skeptic on one side and the kind of people that were really kind of pushing AI. And I think, you know, you've got to be a part of it and understand it well enough to kind of use it effectively, and playing around with the tool. Like I had mentioned, I'd used it for a very rudimentary kind of holiday task, and then kind of used it and executed on it, and, you know, just got comfortable with the tool and now use it for a number of other tasks.
Excellent. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know what Rakesh is talking about, last week we held our first ever Product Coffee Product Forum. This one was in Atlanta. We'd love to bring one to wherever you are. And if you'd like us to have one of these events in your market, let us know. Reach out to me, and we'll work on making that happen. But we did an all-day session to bring product managers, product professionals, designers, engineers, and development leaders together to dig in. This specific time, we were digging in on AI for product management. We looked at it through 3 different lenses. One, how can I use AI to be a better product manager and build better products? Another one was, how can I be inspired to think about using some of these new tools to solve the problems and deliver the outcomes that I'm already charged with delivering on? And then the third was kind of combining that all together to put together an overall personal framework for exploring these technologies and just learning what's available for them. So we talked about inspiration, we talked about strategy, and we talked about tactics. And it was a deep dive, and we finished it off with a lot of beer. It was a fantastic day. And we had some great speakers. And Rakesh, and, you know, one of the things that you mentioned also is that, you know, everyone, there are a lot of product people out there preparing for interviews and on the market right now. There's kind of a big shift happening, and I think I'm seeing more and more roles start to open back up. I think people are starting to move forward to a degree as well. But I'm curious, on that sense, as you're preparing, what are some of the things that you're doing to prepare for your next round of discussions?
It's interesting because I've taken a step back. So Sharon introduced me to a book called Never Search Alone, and the job share council. And so I've kind of taken a little step back. I hit the market pretty hard and early with a bunch of networking and stuff like that. And from a timing perspective, Q1, Q2 is terrible, just because everyone's roles were either frozen, they weren't hiring, or they're doing layoffs, or they're doing global shifts, and internal people were getting hired. So kind of spun my wheels for a little bit there, and then spent some time really just kind of taking a step back, going through and trusting the process. So I'm learning the where, trust the process. And kind of taking that approach. But I'm doing some consulting work on the side. You know, Lisa's been awesome, has kind of put me in touch with someone to work on the side project. and a few other things as well. So both keeping like my pulse on what's going on, kind of learning new things with, last week's forum, consulting a little bit, and then really just taking some time to reflect and kind of position myself in the right way to build out the right market candidate fit.
Excellent. So, and in the vein of encouragement for all those who are looking right now, I was having a conversation with a pretty well-known executive recruiter in the product management space the other day, and she was telling me that she's got about a half a dozen clients that are about to open recs for leadership roles, and they've been holding off on those because what the strategy was, of course, they want to get people started. They want to get some new leaders started in the September-October timeframe. So they're doing their kind of 90-day kind of ramp up period in the fourth quarter of the year, and they're ready to hit the ground running in January. So for those who are out there looking for roles, I've got and I've heard that similar message from through a couple of different lenses. So I think we're about to see some good activity here as we roll into August and September, with a lot of things opening up that people have been sitting on and kind of waiting on. They're ready to start moving again and preparing for a strong 2024. So hang in there. Never Search Alone has gotten great reviews and great feedback from so many of our members. There's a lot of crossover. And if you're not familiar with that, Phil Terry is the author, and he's taken the whole job search preparation process and really has you treat your job search and yourself like a product. And I know John Mansour has spoken here at Product Coffee on marking yourself as a product at Product Coffee, and we'll pull up that episode as well and drop it here in the chat in a few minutes for anybody that wants to go back and look at that as well. It was actually one of our first Product Coffee sessions way back in 2020. But that'd be a good one for you to go back and look at. And the Never Search Alone book is doing a great job of helping you take that product approach to your own career and use that to help find your next opportunity. Getting great feedback. I've got a copy of it myself that I've been trying to crack into, and I just haven't cracked into it yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that. So thank you, Rakesh, and welcome. Let's see here. Who is next on the introductions list that we haven't heard from in a little while and has their camera on? Dan, Mr. Dan Galenkamp, welcome back. How are you, sir?
Hello, grand. How are you?
How's your shoulder?
Fantastic.
Woohoo! All buckled up.
Hey, your arm is still there. That's
exactly.
Pretty awesome.
Exactly. That's the important thing. So, yay, bike helmets.
Oh, is that how it happened?
Yikes. Yes. So
I was gonna say, sorry I added you, but you want to tell us your adventure story of what happened?
No, it's a terrible, stupid, perfectly flat road. Just hit a thing, and everybody said all we heard was "oh crap," and turned around and saw you flying through the air. So that has now resulted in plates and screws and all kinds of things being put in. But on my way to a full recovery. So yay. So that's what's
we're excited that you're the bionic man. I think that's awesome.
Well, I told everybody at work I'm just going to start doing the whole every time I move. Like they didn't think it was as funny as I did, but well. So,
I love it. Maybe they're just not nerdy enough.
Exactly. So, no, excited to be here. We are all about trying to figure out how to do product-led growth and implementing whatever tools we can over at CoStar Real Estate Manager. So it has been an interesting journey and lots of thoughts on it. We are big fans of different tools that help with that process. Some work better than others, but we're working our way through that journey right now. So, and had good reviews from the AI meeting last week. So, taking some of that stuff that came back from that meeting and seeing where we can implement it too. So
awesome. sorry you couldn't join us. Glad you were able to get somebody there from your team, and we'll do other ones, and we'll have you at the next one. So
Perfect.
All right. We've got time for a couple more. Let's see here. I've got I see. Let's say hello to Bonnie Coleman. Hi, Bonnie.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So good morning, everyone. How are you? I'm Bonnie Coleman. I'm a product director. Unfortunately, recently my role was eliminated, as you know, has been happening. So in the job market. But lucky enough to at least, take some time and enjoy the summer. So we had vacation planned already, and just being able to spend some time with my nieces and stuff before they go back to school. But just actually this week starting to kind of hunker down and look for, what's next and things for me. So, yeah.
Well, I outed myself as having a copy of the Never Search Alone book a moment ago. And if you haven't checked it out, please do. And he gives you a checklist at the beginning. And one of the things that is on the checklist of things to do when you're in this position is to take some time, chill out, go on vacation. It's scary. It seems scary. Doesn't matter. Do it. And it's super healthy. So I'm glad you were able to keep that plan in place. And as you start leaning into your search, if there's anything that we can do to help, introductions we can make, and as you start refining where you're headed next, feel free to latch onto this community, because we're all here and happy to help you.
Awesome. Thank you.
And many of us are in the same boat, Bonnie. I can speak to that personally, those that know me. And taking that time was super important. I didn't even realize till as I was doing it, reeling in my head, that I hadn't taken a single vacation day last year, and they got riffed in November. So that, right? Like, hey, take some time, because you probably haven't been, because you were super focused on the job for the company that at the end of the day, right, made those decisions. So, I think that's everything you said there was just like, oh, that's super awesome, right? Like when you get to do that, like be available for your family like that.
It's not right. Yeah. There's not a lot of opportunity just to have the time. So.
And they won't get younger again. I keep asking, but nobody will go back.
Yeah, no. No, this is true. But this is awesome too, because every time I've scheduled to come to one of these, a meeting or somebody has always come up. Sorry. So, I'm excited to be here too. So taking some time to also, just learn and hear from others and see what I can do to, increase my skills and education as I'm, looking to. So.
Awesome. Glad you can be here. Sorry for the circumstances, but let's get you into your next role, and then and keep you around.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thanks and welcome. Let's see here. We've got time, I think, at least one more. Let's jump over and say hello to those of you. For those of you who have not met Elisa, Elisa, why don't you say hello?
Hello. I'm Elisa Bordner. I'm in Atlanta. And what's on my mind is I enjoyed the AI forum, because that is such a hot topic. And then I know we're about to dive into our subject matter, but I'm just curious with these shifts that we're seeing in the product world in terms of job availability, like what's driving that?
Excellent. Anybody have thoughts to share, or just we can just take it and sit and leave it there for the moment? Elisa did a session with us a couple of weeks ago on her new book, The Profitable Method, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about Elisa in just a few minutes as well, with our upcoming workshop with Elisa that we're really super excited about. So thank you for being here.
Yes.
All right. And let's see here. We have got Matt Gross. We spoke to you a little bit at the beginning, but why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
Hi, friends. I'm Matt. Based here in Atlanta, work for a small software shop, loosely based in Atlanta. On my mind recently, we have my product launched about 2 months ago. So we're live. So yeah, which is great. That's kind of why, I do a lot of implementation type products and sort of new to market stuff. So it's always fun to watch your baby go live, right? We've worked on this thing for like a year. We're out there. So now I'm in the process, and what's on my mind is all of the ways we had planned on it working. We're now sort of reassessing how it's actually working, reprioritizing what we need to do, how we need to do it, just sort of trying to figure out what are the next steps, sort of new. Oh, I'm sorry. Was somebody saying something?
No, I don't think so.
Our AI overlords are humming. I think.
Yeah, I heard a little humming. Anyway,
warming up.
Yeah. So life's good. The rollout's going well. But just kind of a fury of, what are the fast follow type items we've got to get? What's the look like long term, and just trying to sort of reassess now that we're live. But it's going very well. I couldn't be more happy with how the rollout went. So that's what's on.
Awesome. Welcome back. Glad to hear it. Love hearing those success stories. We should we need to give that a little bit of applause, actually. There you go. So, got to use the soundboard.
I was doing confetti.
Right?
That's what this was, but I didn't have any actual
I was wondering what that was. I was going to ask. I was like, what's that? Confetti it is.
I throw confetti, but the roommates probably don't appreciate that. Ooh, money, even better. Make it rain.
Make it rain.
There you go.
I have no idea what that reference is about. My stalls. Let me go back on mute.
All right. So hey, we're at the top of the hour here. So I'm in central. I'm in central time zone today. So if I'm running a little bit slow and behind the Atlanta crowd, that's why. I'm just feeling a little bit behind you guys today. So, but what we're going to do, let's go ahead and kind of get started with our session today. And before we get too deep into it, I would like to thank our sponsors. And we have a lot of sponsors who make this program, make this community, and make these events that we hold every month and every week possible. And I just want to take a moment to recognize all of them. And I'm going to drop into our chat some links for all of our sponsors that I would really encourage you to check out. If you're not familiar with them, please familiarize yourself with Method, Sophion, Genuine Parts, and Product Management University and Feature Upvote, because they're supporting this community. And so if there's anything that we can do to thank them, it's to learn about what they do and then help introduce these sponsors to folks in our network when the time's appropriate. Method is a digital agency that creates software and drives product strategy, develops product strategy and design for enterprises who are looking to move through a digital transformation. Method's is an award-winning agency with global presence, ultimately part of GlobalLogic and Hitachi as a subsidiary of those companies. Sophion has made their name in the innovation space and product management space. They've got a great product called Acclaim Products at acclaimproducts.io that you can check out that helps product people identify and articulate their KPIs and connect them to the product really easily so that you can watch how your product is moving forward and delivering on the goals that you need to achieve. And then Genuine Parts, based in Atlanta, home of Napa, has a ton of product management openings. They are going through a product management transformation that is really astounding and exciting. If you'd like to be a part of that, check out the link in the chat or go to productcoffee.com/GPC to go to Genuine Parts product current product openings, and they're opening more every few weeks as well. They're really scaling up. And finally, last but certainly not least, our good friend John Mansour with Product Management University, who has been a sponsor of Product Coffee and Product Camp Atlanta, and is sponsoring the upcoming Product Camp Atlanta on September 29th as our diamond sponsor. Would love, John, why don't you jump in here and tell the folks a little bit about Product Management University and what you've got going on?
Thank you, Jason. We train 4 disciplines, product management, product marketing, product demos, and customer success. And, you know, it's interesting. So over the last couple of months, I've trained several product management teams, a couple of product demo teams, and a product marketing team. You know, and it got me thinking back to my last stint leading a product team. Like, what would happen if product management, product marketing, sales, and customer success all had a common view of the customer? So I just published a blog with 10 things that would happen if all those disciplines were aligned, and I'll put it in the chat here pretty soon. But and I've actually experienced it and seen a few clients over the years experience it. It can be a lot of fun. But anyway, as it relates to product management, I would say probably the most unique thing we do is we don't start with a customer problem. We start with customer outcomes, okay? Which means if it's a well-defined outcome, it can be measured. And if you understand what the customer is trying to accomplish, all you have to do is figure out why they can't get there, and it will bring focus to everything you do as a product management professional like nothing you've ever seen before. And think of it just as a shortcut. It just cuts to the chase, and it's going to bring clarity to everything you do. And if you want to learn that and just see what that approach is like and how different it is than all the other training programs you've probably been through, you can do it in one fell swoop for $999 and take the whole course, or you can do it in $250 increments and take it a section at a time. So just go to productmanagementuniversity.com under product management training, and you'll see the on-demand course. Then you can pick whether you want to take the whole thing all at once or take it in sections.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Folks, John is a fantastic teacher, mentor, coach, and presenter. If you're looking for education, John is one of the #1 places that I send people, and have been for over a decade, I think, at this point. We've known each other a long time now, haven't we, John?
Yes.
So, and
you're
so
both
thank
still
you.
so youthful.
I know, right? I had a lot more red hair when John and I met than I do now. Yeah.
I had a lot more black hair too, but we're not going to talk about that.
That's all right.
Now, what we shouldn't talk about is it an improvement? Well,
hey, one of these days we'd like to see the throwbacks side by side, just putting it out there.
Yes, Matt, that's a great idea.
I think we can make that happen. I'll have to dig that up for you, Matt.
Oh, can we have a session where everyone has to bring their childhood photos? Sorry, Jason.
Yes. I think we should have like a special section of the updated premium members site that we're working on right now that has maybe there you go, throwback pictures. There you go.
I love it. We will talk about this more. Everyone else, imagine a nightmare of a page with child photos and you have to guess who's who. It'd be so fun.
All right. So moving along, I'm really excited to announce, and registration will go live for this later today, but Elisa, who we introduced a moment ago and who you may have seen on Product Coffee a few weeks ago, is going to be delivering our next workshop on August 25th on unifying product management and the service experience. And Elisa is the author of the book, The Profitable Method. And Elisa, you want to talk just for real quickly about, super high level, what the Profitable Method is about, and then how this workshop kind of helps bring people into this improved way of thinking about how they're managing their products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the profitable method is about profitability, and really looking through several different lenses for opportunities to grow revenue, which is obviously a hot topic as it came up earlier today. So in the book, I outlined the 10 critical components of the profitable method, but then have boiled that down to 4 key tenets. 4 key tenets that will help view from a new lens ways to attack that profitability question. So this is one of those, and that is, how do we take product management and converge it with orchestrating experiences in the entire customer experience journey map, deliver on the brand promise of your product at all touch points in the customer experience journey maps at the time of launch, so that sales, marketing, operations, billing, customer support, etc., are all singing from the same songbook and delivering that brand experience in conjunction with the actual product feature set. Now, a lot of things are accomplished here, but one of them is also potentially a way to monetize for the service experience on top of the product feature set itself. So should be a great discussion, and would love to see you there.
It's going to be a lot of fun too. I'm really looking forward to this. And so for those of you who aren't familiar with our workshops, we do monthly professional development workshops. Those are $199 to attend. But if you're a Product Coffee Premium member, they are for no charge. They're included in your membership. And you can go over to productcoffee.com/premium and join Product Coffee Premium anytime you want. And we would love to see you. We would love to see you in this workshop and in our community. So thank you, Elisa. And looking forward to this workshop. So moving on. The other thing that we've got starting up, and this is completely free, whether you're a member or not, is our new book club is starting, and we're going to be reading together the book Jobs to Be Done by Wunker and Associates. And you can go over to productcoffee.com/book club if you haven't already, and sign up for the group on that, and you'll get added to a calendar invite. These will start dropping on your calendar. Our first meeting is tomorrow, Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and everybody. It's just kind of an introductory call, getting to know you, and kind of laying out the plans for the event overall, or for the series overall. And our book club team will be leading that, but it's really a big group discussion and group read along. Even if you can't keep up with the readings, still come join the conversations because they're valuable. Even if you can't keep up with the readings, we will drop a link to the book into the chat in just a moment as well. Manesh, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, great coverage. Looking forward to this book. I think it'll be very exciting to go over it. Remember, you don't have to be an avid reader to join the book club. So if you want to just learn about what other people have said and experiences that they've experienced with Jobs to Be Done, this is your session, Thursdays at 4 p.m.
Oh, 4 p.m. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And Manesh is one of our book club leaders, and he's also director of product management at Aviana Healthcare. So thanks for doing that, Manesh. Thanks for being a part of this. All right, today though, we're going to dig in on a really fun topic. Product-led growth strategy has been one of the driving conversations in product management for the last several years. And one of the things that we hear a lot is, I can't implement product-led growth at my company with my product in my portfolio, and there are a bunch of reasons why. So we're going to talk about some of those reasons today, and we're going to talk about strategies to overcome some of those roadblocks from folks that have experience in doing so, and how they've gone through it. And we're going to brainstorm some suggestions for working with your own team to move to a more scalable approach to expanding your revenue and expanding your penetration within your own market. For those of you who don't know me, well, first of all, we have a notes document that I want to direct everybody to as well. One of the things that we like to do here at Product Coffee is we have a Google Doc that we work with together. So if you go over to productcoffee.com/notes, that'll take you into our document. And we just suggest and encourage everybody to drop your questions, drop your insights, links to any articles or resources that you find valuable. drop those into the document, drop in your own LinkedIn profile so you can connect with folks as well. So jump into the notes document. This becomes a part of the record of today's session, and you can star it and save it in your own Google Drive. So you'll have not only your own notes, but the notes of everyone else who attended the session here with you today. So please join us at productcoffee.com/notes as we go through today's discussion. All right. And my name's Jason Brett, for those of us who haven't met yet. And every week on Wednesday, we have this virtual meetup of product people who care about being awesome product people. We get together, we talk about the issues that we all need help with, and we share our own experiences so that we can benefit from the real world experience of those around us. A lot of times we may have some product peers in our own company. We've done the certifications, we've taken the training courses, but when it comes to actually implementing product tactics and product management strategies in our own organization, getting real with it is challenging. And so having a group of people that you can talk these things out with and get experience and perspective from is really valuable. And we're glad you're here to join us today. So let's get into our discussion. First thing I want to do actually is I want to drop a poll in here and get some feedback. And I kind of reworded this at the last minute because we've got a lot of people who are searching for a new opportunity. But you should see the poll on your screen right now. And I'd like to know how far along, how's your organization's progress in becoming product led? And if you recently left an organization, if you're looking for your next organization, think about the last company you were with. Let's just kind of get a feel for how people are seeing their own company's progress in terms of product-led growth.
Lisa, I think you and I
Jason,
should do this for product coffee.
What's that?
I said to Lisa,
Yes.
I think she and I should answer this for product coffee.
Yes. What were you saying, John?
So we're talking about the philosophy of product-led as opposed to the business model of product-led growth. Is that correct?
That is a great question and great perspective. We are actually talking about the business model of product-led growth versus the philosophy. So thank you for asking that clarifying question.
Okay, cool.
Yep. The business model, which is, and we'll talk a little bit more about the definition of that, but where you're using the product itself and interactions with the product and capabilities within the product as part of your sales channel to drive growth in your product world. All right. Okay, it looks like we've got 23 out of 20, about 80% of you have responded, and I'm seeing we're seeing a fairly low trend here. We've got one company that says, we got one person who says we are there. We are at what we believe is the best position to be from a product-led growth perspective. And if you want to out yourself, I would love to know who said that. I won't make you identify yourself. I don't know. But if that was you, please raise your hand. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts about who was it?
It was me, Bonnie.
Okay, great, Bonnie. Tell us about that if you don't mind.
And maybe, tell me if I'm wrong in what you're really looking for. But I mean, we were product, my last company, product led 100%. I mean, as a product owner, I always told anybody that asked me what I did, it was like running my own business. I was responsible for everything from soup to nuts. Even like the national sales accounts people, anybody could not sell anything without us we came up with all pricing models, subscription models. We worked with marketing, we worked with customer success. We helped drive any programs to grow our business. We did everything, soup to nuts, from road mapping, enhancements. I mean, at just basically everything. We were more or less business leaders and running a product.
Mm-hmm. So that gets into that dichotomy of product led as a business philosophy versus as a business model. And I think, John, would you describe what Bonnie was just describing? Is that what you were thinking about when you were saying as a business philosophy?
Yes, as a business philosophy, it means that, product management is actually, performing at its, ideal state, leading the organization, and everyone is following because they trust that we know the market better than everybody else, and we're doing things that keep us aligned to that market.
And I think that's a really important business philosophy as well, because it's really aligning around outcomes and ensuring that we're aligning the whole company around delivering those outcomes successfully to our market and making sure that they're aligned to our market's true needs. So Mark, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I would just add on to what John was saying. My last company, we tried to really develop a product-led growth strategy and failed miserably for several reasons. One of which was the people who were spearheading it were very mercurial, I guess, so they didn't stay with anything for very long. But I think a lot of it is more the culture and the mentality of the overall organization, which is, what does product management mean to the organization? What does it mean to your customers? How visible is it to the customer base? I could tell you where I am today and other organizations I've been with, do your customers even understand what your product management organization does and what they are? And I find that that's been a huge hurdle quite often, where customers are asking for things that are completely not even unreasonable, but unrealistic because they don't understand how product management works. So all of that to me is kind of that philosophy of product-led growth. And I would say a lot of it starts with the innovation, which is where does the innovation come from, which is going to be multiple areas. But then once it comes in the organization, how is it managed? Who owns it? Who's making the decisions? And then who's executing on it? Because to me, that's where a lot of organizations kind of fall by the wayside in terms of product management. That's my soapbox, but.
And it's one I think that we all struggle with. There's so many companies that don't truly understand the value and the potential value that well-run product management brings to the table, and how product can really be the conscience of the company and can help to align everything to the overall business objectives of the company, the mission and vision and strategy of the company, and bring that into a full portfolio of products and services to deliver on that successfully. And I think I'm really excited. I think that's one of the big focuses of Elisa's workshop at the end of the month, this month as well. John, yes, sir.
So I can tell you what I've seen, and I think it is for the companies who I have seen start down this path. I mean, when you're talking about changing a legacy direct sales organization to a product-led model, you are literally remaking the whole company. And it's not something you can do with a flip of a switch. So the handful of customers who I've seen start to go down this path, the first thing they have done, or one of the reasons they started re-architecting their platform, was, number one, it was not built to implement the freemium model where you give something away and then you sort of upsell from there and it becomes viral and everything that goes with a product-led model. So they generally start there by re-architecting their platform, and then crawl, walk, run is the initial offering generally goes to a slightly different market than the ones that their legacy products target. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I've seen them start down that path, some having decent success with it. But you're talking about more or less eliminating the entire Salesforce, other than a couple of strategic account salespeople, where they're going to manage the ones that mushroom up to big customers pretty quickly. And then obviously enormous changes to product management, deciding what we're going to give away for free, how much value does it have, where are the hooks. Product marketing, doing in-app marketing as opposed to traditional product marketing. I mean, literally everything changes. And so it is a much bigger deal than people realize. It's not like, oh, let's just give something away and then, start doing what companies, the companies that have truly implemented it, like Zoom or Calendly or some of those, have done from the start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there is a big difference when you're doing it from the start versus when you're building a company with that in mind in the platform. And that's where we're getting into the actual, the practice, the the go-to-market approach of product-led growth from a strategy standpoint versus a philosophy standpoint. Now, one of the things I've seen, IBM's a great example of a company that has been making a transition to a lot of product-led growth models, and they're not getting rid of their sales team. They're not downsizing their sales team. What they're doing is they're using a product-led growth strategy to build a wider top of the funnel and bring more people into the funnel that those professional sellers can and drive revenue from them early on at a lower price point or with a lower touch sale, and then continue to build value in those accounts as well. And I think that's one of the big hurdles I hear about a lot is resistance from the sales organization because they're in fear for their jobs. And that's absolutely a good reason to resist a product-led growth strategy. Before we get too deep into some more of those obstacles, and that's a good one, the platform is a good one, I want to turn over to Dan and Dan Galenkamp, would you mind, I know you're a big fan of product-led growth strategy and have been really focused on that in your role a good bit. And I'm curious about what are some of the driving reasons for why CoStar wants to move in a product-led growth direction?
Yeah, and it ties a little bit into some of what we were just talking about, particularly what John just brought up. It's we're particularly our division, we're a small division of a bigger company, but we're a 20 some odd year old platform that is super focused on enterprise sales. And, we absolutely can't implement all of the product-led growth strategies of freemium models and stuff like that. But what we can do is embrace the features and analytics to help us do the better, the excellent onboarding process, and sorry, to answer your actual question before I go down another path, really why are we taking this on? It is an uphill battle for us, frankly, as a product, and customer success has bought in with us as well on trying to transform the organization to be product led. But we're doing that because one, it enables us to drive additional sales. I mean, that's an easy one without engaging, the heavy sales arm of our organization. We can easily engage people into different modules, different features, things like that, and upsell them just through the app. Every time that we are engaged in feedback sessions with clients, it's all of the feedback we've gotten is what simple tweaks can you make to make our lives easier in that onboarding process, in the engagement of the features, that we maybe don't know about. And that all of those are cornerstones of being product led is, make it easy to get into the application, make it easy to know about parts of the app that you don't know, let users help themselves, collect and then communicate that feedback back immediately. All that stuff it's basic product management, but if you kind of pitch it in the framework of being product led and take what pieces you can account for, you find that your customer satisfaction scores go up immensely. You've got stickier customers. You're seeing, rather than seeing someone high up in the enterprise organization made a decision about buying this massive software package and users are fighting. We don't want to use it because it's hard and uncomfortable and ugly and all the things. Now we're getting clients who are deeply engaged in the feedback process, are excited to talk to the product team and provide growth opportunities, are looking for other ways to use the product in their organization. We're being drugged, out down paths that we didn't expect. And it's great to be able to say, hey, we're hearing this from all these other clients, put up some feedback things in the application, and are you hearing this as well? And suddenly that blossoms a huge area of growth for us that, maybe we hadn't even thought about or had thought was far less interesting than it proved to be. So, So are we fully product led? Absolutely not. Will we ever be? Probably not. But we're, you know, we're taking the things that are the most important to us and those scoring mechanisms for, you know, usage and time to value and things like that, and pulling them in to make us, you know, better decision makers about how the product flows and sits and gets built. So,
you know, something you said just there really resonated with me. You said, are we fully product led? No. Will we ever be? Probably not. At the same time, what I'm hearing from your description is you have identified a lot of the markers of what good looks like for your organization. You've got a vision of what being sufficiently product led in your growth strategy looks like, and you're moving towards that marker. I think if I were to rebuild the poll that I asked everybody a few minutes ago, I might actually try to set it up so that we kind of lead you down that path. Do we have an idea of what good looks like? And then how are we against that idea? Because, and to John's earlier point, a lot of product-led growth organizations and strategy doesn't say we're getting rid of the enterprise sales team. It doesn't say we're getting rid of these other growth strategies. It says we're implementing a product-led growth strategy to add to, and Sharon, to your earlier question, to help scale our revenue and scale our business using some new tools.
Yeah.
And Dan, I have a question for you, and Jason, just directly to your point, right? Which is it's becoming a complementary strategy or an expansion strategy instead of we're completely switching gears here. You know, and it makes me wonder when it comes to enterprise software, I mean, can you truly be product led? Because we all know customers drag us down the rabbit hole and you know, essentially force us to add features that create these over bloated enterprise software products. And in a product-led model, simple is the mantra, right? I mean, if you look at the most successful, truly product-led growth products and business models, they're pretty simple, single-purpose types of products. I always wonder, is that realistic in enterprise software? What are your thoughts there, Dan?
I feel like no, it's what we are trying to do is, and yeah, this is we have this conversation a lot because we get that question all the time of, you know, we're about to pay you $1 bajillion, you need to go develop X, you know, to do this. And yeah, it's a one-trick pony for one client. And we really, what it forces us to do more than anything else is have a very intentional conversation about how valuable and important is that feature to us. We certainly are not going to say, no, we're not going to do it. We have gotten a lot better at that. I mean, back 5 years ago, you know, probably, 5 years ago-ish, before we really started thinking about this as collectively, absolutely, you know, if a client asked for it, we build it. You know, we had recency bias coming out of our ears. Whatever the last sale was, that was the most important thing in the world. And roadmap was steering left and right. And now we're able, you know, we've been able to commit to, frankly, we've been able to commit to a 2-year roadmap for ourselves with flexibility built in to say, if something does come up and it is, you know, something that, while, you know, we don't want to do it, it will apply to at least more than one customer. We pretty much said, if it's a one customer thing, we're not doing it. But if we can make a case to make it apply to a couple customers, then we'll, then we'll take that on. Mark, just to answer your question, we're part of a real estate technology company. CoStar overall owns apartments.com and homes.com, and basically anything to do with real estate, we are a data provider for it. My particular vertical is called real estate manager, and we do lease administration and transaction management for projects. So we're very B2B, enterprise, you know, Fortune whatever companies, typically is based on the size of their real estate portfolio, or the providers of real estate information. So a real estate company like Cushman Wakefield will be a client and then service their client through us. So it's, and then we deal a lot with accounting information as well.
And approximately how many employees do you have?
Our division itself is 160. So
okay. I'm just trying to get a feel for, do you think your model would fit in, bigger, smaller companies, or do you think it could kind of, it's universal?
So it's actually interesting because we talk a lot with the overall product group, which is, the company overall is many thousands of people and billions of dollars. And, each division kind of handles their own business, but the things that we are embracing as a group, we are starting to see trickle up into the broader organization. There's some things that, that just can't happen, just due to the nature of the organization. But absolutely, there are other things that people are taking the key points and learnings from and adopting it to their own needs. So
great, thanks. That helps.
Yeah.
So as we think about the barriers and getting to kind of the core of today's talk, this notion of moving from a sales-led to a more product-led growth strategy, and being really specific about that, the sales-led strategy, essentially, the number one thing that you can do to scale in a sales-led strategy is generate more leads and throw more bodies into the field to nurture and build and close deals. And there are a lot of companies here that are helping to find better ways in a sales-led strategy to scale your sales. SalesLoft is a great example of a company based out of Atlanta that's built an amazing unicorn. And one of the things that they do is they help to accelerate that process from lead to appointment and get opportunities in front of these professional sellers to close deals faster. That's one of the things that SalesLoft does. There are a lot of other marketing technology companies that have come along in Atlanta. Terminus is another great one to think about account-based marketing to expand the reach of the sales organization, the marketing organization, into deeper into an existing company or a target company. And those are all very, you can bring some technology to the table, but ultimately, in order to scale through a sales-led strategy, you have to scale the sales organization, and there's a lot of risk involved in that. A product-led strategy, on the other hand, is about using the technology to sell more technology, and there are lots of different approaches to doing that. There's a lot of talk about two-sided marketplaces and network effects that can help some companies. Like Slack is a great example that people hold up as a great product-led growth strategy. Airbnb is another one that people hold up as a great product-led growth strategy because the two-sided market, the network effect, lets sellers or on the Airbnb platform become more valuable consumers, and more valuable consumers bring more sellers into the marketplace. And that's a little bit more complex one, but it's kind of part of that discussion. But when we talk about the barriers on the technology side of it, one of the things that John mentioned a moment ago is this need to fundamentally, a lot of companies say, okay, in order to do this, we've got to re-architect the platform. We've got to rebuild our technology because we weren't built with product-led growth in mind. We don't have the ability to deliver a freemium offer, a free gateway offer that we can use to then scale our sales funnel and so on and so forth. What are some other barriers? And Matt, I want to pick on my friend Matt Bettina from New Orleans. I know you're not on camera right now, but I hope you can jump in here a minute because you're a really unique kind of product set. I don't think we're going to get into viral marketing for civics anytime soon, but talk about if you think about a product-led growth strategy, what are some of the barriers? Have you even considered this in your organization? And what are some of the barriers that have made you say, okay, here's something that would keep us from moving down a product-led growth strategy? And if you wouldn't mind starting by sharing with folks who don't know you what Civics is.
I'll do my best here. I've got some internet issues this morning. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So Civics is a public sector company with a mission to transform the public sector. We work with a lot of and support back offices in the public sector. So think of like a finance department at an airport that's processing all of the different financial transactions for an airport, or an operations team at an airport that is handling safety inspections. So our software, our SaaS products support all those various different things, and our professional services that we offer also do as well. We have people with years of experience working with airports. As far as product led goes, I was just kind of curious because it's really, I kind of see this as two different things, almost sort of related, at least from what I've been following on LinkedIn, and it does get kind of confusing. Kind of back to what John was saying, but you have product-led growth as a sales strategy, it seems, and perhaps even marketing. And then you have this concept of an organization being product-led. I'm thinking Todd Olson from Pendo, he's got a book on that. Still need to read that. But as far as Roadblocks, so, many consulting firms are traditionally sales-led. And we have been doing the best that we can to try to change that mindset and be more quote unquote product led in what we're doing in that aspect, to not try to be as sales led in the sense that like the sales team is leading the product team in terms of here's where you're going to go with your product because this customer said they want this feature. Or we wrote this into this contract, by the way, and now we need to go build it. We're having those conversations up front first before we even put that into a scope of work in some contractual agreement with a customer. And honestly, like a lot of our work that we do is not custom anymore, which is good. There's some aspects of things like if we're going to do something for a customer, we want to make sure it's something that a lot of different customers will benefit from. So I've seen that transformation and been part of that over the years, and that's been fantastic. That's gotten us away from getting in hot water. And I'd say, we're doing other things, like we're working closely with our UX team to and partner with them. So I've partnered with them on our operations monthly dialogue session that we have each month for the operations sector, which is basically the folks that maintain safety and operations at the airport. And what we do is we have a monthly session where we are starting to preview and showcase, what's to come with some of the new stuff that we're getting ready to put out there. That helps a lot because they bring that user experience and visual design aspect to it, and they help us with some of the storytelling, and we're able to work on that together with them, as well as provide the subject matter expertise and input to those stories. So those are some ways in which I say we're doing that. And then we've also got them engaged in the work with the engineering teams too. And I'm not going to get into the details of that because it's a little bit of secret sauce, but find unique ways and creative ways that you can engage your UX teams to help you with engineering efforts. So I'll leave that at maybe we'll get into a little bit of that if I hopefully end up at product camp here in September. But
you're assuming that our company has a UX team to engage.
Yeah, that's an assumption, and honestly that wasn't the case always. We actually had a graphic design team historically with graphic designers, and over time that's just kind of evolved as those people were pulled off to other initiatives within the company and even moved on to boutique design shops here in New Orleans. We evolved that, and we've got a UX lead now, and we have a more of a junior UX designer who's actually quite skilled at what he does to support those efforts with us directly. So I would say in a matter of look at within your org, what steps can you take right now to be more product forward or product led in your efforts? What's going to work for you? Just because this company over here did this doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You really need to take a look at who your people are, and you need to have some conversations with them about some of these things and see what kind of appetite there is for doing some of these, things that you want to do. I mean, I got fantastic buy-in on just taking a more collaborative approach to new product development and engaging the UX team and, bringing in, more of a visual design aspect to things, and even a design, almost like a design-led approach to doing things. But and we've partnered with them on discovery as well. We don't do quote unquote too much continuous discovery with full-on opportunity solution trees and whatnot, but we have been incorporating certain aspects of bringing a tree to interviews and making sure that we're on a frequent basis.
I don't want to cut over my friend Matt, but I want to say to my friend Mark, there's always a UX design team, right? If there isn't a specifically designated one, it's product.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. When I think of UX, though, I do think of people who are designers by trade.
Sure. Agree.
I think, Lisa, I'm sure there are others, but I know Lisa, coming from both of us coming from the healthcare industry, I could count on one hand the number of organizations I found, maybe not so much up until 2 years ago, didn't have any of that. It was basically you go to the customers and they tell you how to design it, and there's not a whole lot of Lisa, help me here. I wouldn't say user design, more graphic design, human factoring, that type of thing.
Yeah, experience design. It hasn't existed as much anymore. The philosophy is becoming more prevalent as the teams are a little fragmented. But yeah.
Yeah, I know I sound a lot like I sound a lot like the get off my lawn guy, but
no.
But I am old, and it's the two biggest catchphrases right now to me are generative AI and customer experience, and it means something different to everybody depending on who you talk to. And
totally, and some of that customer experience, I would strongly advocate should be owned by product, but a lot of it should be owned by
I could tell you, at least what I've been seeing is most of it is in the sales area, like sales account management area. I will say the one time I got to use a human factoring organization that we worked with was an unbelievable experience for me. So Matt, I totally am with you. It's just sometimes getting those resources beyond just, talking to the market and getting kind of how they would use it, but more the kind of visual stuff, and even to some extent the workflow. Sometimes it's difficult to access.
So
to any users
Mark,
of the NCR Aptra software, I apologize for your user experience, because I was literally, even though I was the head of product, tasked with picking the icons and where they went on the screen. So that was my point, Mark. So if you don't have UX people, it's you.
Yeah, I think you're right.
No, she's right. Early on, I actually did a lot of that myself, just laying out the UI and working a little bit more with our graphic design team on that. But over time, I handed it off to those folks as they became more available, because I shouldn't have been doing that really in the first place. But you do what you got to do. Mark, have you had any conversations with the sales team about those customer success initiatives and ways that you can get engaged to try to collaborate more on some of that work?
So my current company, we're still kind of growing the product organization, but in the past couple of places I've been, absolutely. the account people, when they're tied to sales, I usually rely on more because they're looking either at more than one customer or they've got a little more depth than the salespeople have. No offense to the sales team. So I rely more on them, I would say. Also, I like to talk. It's a legacy product or if it's components of a legacy product, because I get a lot of really good feedback from them as well.
Yeah, I try to look for some areas where I feel, okay, I've got an ally here, an advocate, and I can maybe take a couple steps forward. Probably not going to start offering freemiums at the moment. We're just not ready for that. We're not there yet. But things like I said, starting to engage more folks in the roadmap process, getting the UX UI team more engaged with the engineering team, just finding different ways that we can plug folks in to bring that glue together with the team. And how many steps ahead can we go with that? What's appropriate, the appropriate speed to move at this time that doesn't cause some kind of culture shock or, resistance to change management. There may be some of that you have to work through, but I think you have to watch how much you rock the boat initially, and just navigate those waters carefully.
I find it shocking that you don't foresee taking a freemium model into the airports of the United States.
I do. We're just not at the point where we're ready to just do that right now.
Oh wow!
I think once we've
awesome.
got
So I lost my connection and I missed that.
That's okay. It's a re-engineering effort right now for legacy product, and I think we'll be taking a look at that once that's ready this year. So
that's really cool. One of the things
so I can avoid the airport altogether.
I saw. I'll come back to that one on flying cars later. But when I was that's right. When I was at IBM, we were in the process. I come to IBM through Silverpop. Actually, I was working for Silverpop. We were acquired by IBM, and IBM had put together a pretty broad portfolio of marketing SaaS companies, and we had quite a few companies that were part of that. We had Silverpop, and we had a company that we had acquired that was doing SMS delivery. We had a company that was doing mobile push to your Android and iOS devices. We had a company that was doing some analytics. We had a company that was doing some content management stuff. And we began to embark down a product-led growth strategy initiative within IBM. And we had a lot of the same challenges that I hear from a lot of people. Is first of all, our platform wasn't tooled for a freemium offer to begin with. It just wasn't what we were designed to do. And in email, for example, which is where Silverpop came from, even onboarding at that time, putting together getting a client active and productive at an enterprise scale marketing email system, well, there's a lot of setup that you have to do. It's a lot easier to do now across the industry than it was at the time, but you generally had to have people making changes to your domain, doing a lot of deliverability work to get you set up, building a marketing database in our platform. There was a lot of work to do, so you couldn't just turn a key and go at enterprise scale. But we still had this desire to scale our sales organization, to scale our sales funnel through product-led growth. And we had that technology objection. We had the sales objection that John was talking about earlier on. People say, hey, you're going to get rid of our incentive to sell, our ability to sell, and move that into the product. Well, how that's going to create some resistance in the organization, some of those antibodies to change, some of that resistance to cultural change. What we learned and what we ended up doing was not really so much in the freemium model that people think of as a hallmark of PLG. What we actually ended up doing is we started thinking about these various products that we had and how we could bring them together to solve the products for the outcomes that people were buying our products for already. So for example, in our email platform, we needed to, one of the things you have to be able to do is compose an email. And we had this non-standard email editor that we had put together as Silverpop prior to the acquisition by IBM. At the same time, we've got this company over here that IBM has that builds a content management system that's a fantastic content management system. So what we did, instead of re-architecting the whole platform, is we brought that piece into the Silverpop platform. It was now Watson Marketing Automation is what we were calling it, but we brought that content management system into the platform to handle the construction of the emails. And what effect that created, it wasn't so much a freemium offer, but our customers started automatically building their content in this content management system. And they liked that new editor and they liked that new composition experience. And then we could have the conversation that said, hey, guess what? A bunch of your marketing content is already in this CMS. You can actually go over here and get a license to that and scale up your use of that for additional use cases. So the product-led growth was in introducing an entirely different product by giving it to them in their existing context, doing work that they were already doing without having to sell them something new, and then making it easy for them to adopt and move and take on greater use of that new product. And so that helped us introduce and launch a whole new sales effort in our content management system. Same thing with analytics. As we were looking to improve the analytics that we offered in our mailing platform, we brought in our digital analytics product and use that as the foundation for an updated analytics capability, delivered that to our customers and said, hey, by the way, if you want to run analytics on more than just email, you've already got the tool, you're already using it, you've already got data in the system, we can just bring in some more data and you can start using it for more use cases. And that was how we approached a really powerful product-led growth strategy that was really successful in integrating those platforms, even though they were different products altogether or all separately. But we were able to integrate them from a go-to-market perspective, deliver greater value to our customers in the immediate term, and let them buy into a larger experience with our Watson Marketing platform. We later carved that out and created a company called Acoustic that was a standalone marketing technology SaaS company that continues to go forward today with a lot of those technologies and continues to iterate on them. So I'm curious, we've talked a little bit about, we're kind of coming up on the top of the hour, and I think I feel like a whole nother conversation on really getting through, we spent a lot of time on the product-led philosophy today and building a company and selling the notion of letting product management have a bigger seat at the table and building those relationships with the sales organization and with the technology organization to ensure that people understand the product management organization. I think we can have some continued conversations on that, but also having some continued conversations on the actual growth strategy and moving towards that growth strategy. I wonder what big questions are still open in people's minds today. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing that seem like impediments still to getting to a product-led growth strategy, the go-to-market strategy that we haven't at least touched on today?
I'll throw out one Bonnie and I have been discussing, which is deciding what you give away for a freemium to get people started, right? So I've heard these conversations with my customers. I think Bonnie pretty much validated is people are too afraid to give something away that has a lot of value, right? And then the opposite is, well, let's give something away for free that doesn't have much value, and then no one engages, right, Bonnie? And so, it's like, is there what's the approach to making that decision of what you give away for free? And to me, when you look at what other successful product-led growth companies have done, is they start with one or two workflows and they give away a critical piece of the workflow. But then if you want to do the next step, that's when you got to upgrade or pay for it, right? To me, which that's a really smart strategy. But I think a lot of companies struggle with that whole thing of, I don't want to give away something that's too valuable because then, no one will buy it. It's like, well, you got, different way to think about that.
Yep. All right. Well, that brings us to the top of the hour. Thank you so much, John. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Matt. I put a couple people on the spot along the way, and I really appreciate you jumping in and rising to the occasion. Thank you, Holly, for keeping everything moving, both in the chat and here on the call as well. Really appreciate everyone's insights, and we will look forward to seeing you all next week. Back here, we'll be back at 7:30 a.m. Eastern next week for Product Coffee, and hope everybody has a great week. Thanks for being here.
Sounds good. Thank you.